Alrighty, so whatever your version of comfortable is, just go ahead and find that on your mats. And whether that's cross-legged or on our shins, trying to find a little bit more of an erect spine. So sending the crown up and the tailbone down, but avoiding that feeling of rigidity. So still finding ease in the shoulders and ease in the body. And just starting to tune out whatever's happening around. So maybe bringing our attention to our breath. What is our natural rhythm? Noticing any other sensations that come with that breath. Sometimes I give some cues, but I think I'll let you guys just be a little bit more curious today. And as we often do at the start of a class, we'll do a body scan. But again, I'm not going to direct you guys in any particular way today. So just whatever order or way you prefer to do a body scan. And we can observe our energies and our emotions and our moods, but I think I'd like to encourage everyone to be especially curious about sensation today. Our emotions are more or less the stories we tell about the sensations, and we can get carried away with those emotions. So, for example, instead of thinking, if I ask you about a sensation, if you say I feel anxious, anxious is the emotion that usually turns around maybe a churning or tightness in the belly or a pacing in the heart. So really just focusing on our sensations this morning. And then I'm going to invite you to spend a moment to really try to identify what is the most prominent sensation in your body this morning. And that might be a pinching in the lower back or tension in our solar plexus or headache, or could be a more pleasant sensation as well. And when you arrive at that sensation, make note of where that sensation is. And then try to name that sensation without attaching any emotion to it. And what I'm hoping we can be a little bit curious about today is how that sensation, that one particular sensation, changes or doesn't change throughout our practice. And so encouraging you to just really observe that sensation throughout the whole practice as much as we can. I'll start by just starting to lengthen the breath. Long, slow, full inhales through the nose. And full exhales. Maybe seeing if we can extend the exhale to be just a little longer than the inhale. Noticing if that breath or that exhale has any impact on the sensation that we observed. And just 2 or 3 more long, slow, even breaths. And then try to maintain that nice long breath throughout the practice. We're going to start our warm-up. So just making long, slow circles with the neck, or a pendulum if going back doesn't feel very good for your neck. And if you're making full circles, make sure we switch directions. And then when you're ready, bringing the head upright. And we're going to clasp our fingers together in front of our hearts. And then as we exhale, we're going to turn the palms out, press them away, round through the shoulders, and pause here for a moment. On your next inhale, press the palms up toward the sky, let the chest flare out a little bit. But as we exhale, stitch the ribs back together so we're one straight line, palms to sky. And on your next inhale, find a little bit of length. And as you exhale, stretch, pulling the right arm over toward the left, opening up in the side body. And inhaling back to center. Exhale, on the other side. And your next inhale, coming back to center. Releasing the hands. And I'll turn so you can see. We'll clasp the hands behind us, kind of pulling the elbows toward each other a little bit to open up through the shoulders. And then pull the fists away. Really expanding the chest and maybe turning the gaze up a little bit. Spend another breath or two here. Before you unclasp, let the hands come back down to the lower back. Release the hands, and on an inhale, sweep the arms to the sky. And on an exhale, folding over toward the right. Inhale all the way up. And exhale, other side. Inhaling back to center in your own time, and then exhaling for a little twist. Pausing there for a breath or two. And when you're ready, inhaling back to center, hands to the sky. Exhaling to the other side. Your next inhale brings the hands back to center. And exhale, fold forward. Pausing in your forward fold for a couple of breaths. Remaining curious about that sensation. Little attention still on the breath. So how does the breath affect the sensation? Maybe we can kind of send the breath there. And then when you're ready, pressing yourself back up nice and slow. And we'll come onto our tabletop for our cat-cow. So wrists below the shoulders, hips over the knees. And as we inhale, drop the belly, lift the tailbone, lift the gaze. As we exhale, round through the spine, navel to sky, tailbone tucks under. And dropping the belly on a long, slow inhale. Using the full exhale to press the mat away, rounding through the spine. A little more like that at your own pace. Following your breath. And then when you're ready, we're going to come down onto the belly for a moment. And we're going to open up the shoulders a little bit. So we're going to plant the right hand extended out. And we're going to use the left hand to slowly roll over toward the right shoulder. So using that left hand for support, you can either have the legs stacked, or you can plant the left foot behind the right leg. See if you can let the face be really relaxed. Couple more breaths here. Good. When you're ready, nice and slow, rolling back onto the belly. And then setting up the other side, so extending the left arm out straight. Using the right hand to slowly roll over toward that shoulder, opening up the shoulder. And again, legs can either be stacked, be planting the right sole behind the left leg. Really paying attention to what feels right for your body this morning. One more breath here. And when you're ready, slowly undoing that. And then we're going to find our Sphinx pose. So similar to our Cobra, we do want to keep the lower spine elongated, so kind of pressing the pelvis down and away. We're going to come up onto the forearms, elbows just ahead of the shoulders, planting the palms nice and wide, and then kind of using that to pull the chest up and through. Trying to maintain that same quality of breath throughout. So if it starts to become really shallow or shaky, seeing how we can modify, or seeing how we can return to that same breath. Maybe even being curious about how the changes in quality of the breath affect that sensation we're observing in different ways. Good, so go ahead and tuck the toes, start to press yourself back up to tabletop. And then we're gonna do the broken wing. So for that one, you're going to, on an inhale, we're gonna sweep the right arm all the way up. And as we exhale, we're gonna thread it through until our shoulder and our face find the ground. Maybe pressing into the back of the right fingernails, helping support that shoulder a little bit. Relaxing the face onto the mat. Good, and then using your left hand to press yourself back up, sweeping the arm back to the sky. And exhale, let it down. Good, setting everything back up. So finding our nice even tabletop. As we inhale, sweep that left arm up. And as we exhale, thread it through. So again, the face finds the ground, shoulder finds the ground. Back of the left fingertips pressing into the ground. One more breath here. Good. On your next inhale, use your right hand to press yourself back up. Sweep the left onto the sky. Exhale, let that hand find the ground. Good. Maybe rinsing out with a little one more cat-cow here. So inhale, drop the belly. Exhale, pressing the mat away. And then we're going to take our melting heart. So you might want to shift back a little bit on your mat. And we want to try to keep our hips over our knees here. So the hips stay in place while the hands start to walk forward and the heart starts to melt toward the mat. And again, finding a place where you can feel sensation. You can track the sensation that we've been tracking. But maybe maintaining the same quality of breath. Couple more breaths. Good. When you're ready, coming back into our tabletop. Options to rinse out with the cat-cow, or you can just start to shift straight into your downward facing dog. So we'll be tucking the toes. Setting the hips up. Maybe walking the dog a little bit, so pedaling the toes back and forth. And then at one point, maybe finding stillness here in your down dog. And then we're going to shift back to our knees for a moment, but not with a bunch of cat-cows, again, don't worry. I'm going to turn to face you guys so you can see this. We're going to extend the right leg out so that the right foot is parallel to the short edge of the mat. And then we're going to come upright and see if your left knee is roughly underneath your left shoulder. Kind of pushing the pelvis forward, so we're opening up through the hips here. And then we're going to maybe just plant the fingertips or the palm of the left hand on the ground below the shoulder. And then sweep that right arm over. So it's kind of like a cross between a plank and a side angle here. And then let that arm sweep down and coming back around the center for a moment into an upright position. And then that right hand is going to kind of slide down the right leg as the left arm really extends over. And maybe even I'll invite you to play around a little bit here, just seeing like, what does that feel like as you're reaching and stretching? What is the sensation? Where do we feel it? How does it change as we move the arm? Good. And then when you're ready, we're going to sweep that left hand back toward the ground. You might want to tuck your toes for this and come into a modified side plank. Good. And if this is a little too much for the shoulder, the arm can also be straight up in the air, so whatever feels best for you. And release that foot down, walking the hands back to the center, releasing that hand, taking a quick cat-cow if you need it. And then extending that left foot out, or whichever foot you didn't already do. Again, tucking the back toe might be really helpful for this pose. Coming upright, checking to see if that knee is in line with the shoulder. And then that hand is going to be underneath the shoulder when we lean down and sweep the left arm over. Couple more breaths here. And sweeping the arm through the center. It's just a little bit easier on the back when we do it that way. and coming to an upright position. And then again, that left hand, toes should be in line with the knee, by the way, hopefully. Left hand's going to slide down the left leg as we kind of reverse that. Maybe checking that your hand is either on the shin or the thigh and not on the knee. We want to be careful of our knees. And then when you're ready, sweep that right arm back down, finding that modified side plank. So reaching through the fingers and the toes, what can be pointed or flexed. I'm not too picky about that today. Good, release that foot. Hands come through the center. Returning to tabletop and then pressing to downward facing dog. And then in your own time and way, just start slowly walking your feet to the front of the mat. Take as many steps as you'd like to get there. And then bend the knees so you can really ragdoll it out. Let the head hang nice and loose. If it feels good, you can hold on to the elbows or you can clasp the fingers kind of at the base of the skull for a little extra weight, a little extra decompression. And when you're ready, we're going to roll it up one vertebra at a time. Taking a moment to check in with our breath. We still maintain a relatively slow and even breath. And then checking back in with that sensation. Whatever that sensation was that you identified at the beginning of our practice. Is it the same or different? And then we'll start to work through a few salutations of sorts. So finding the front of our mats, our feet are about this distance apart usually, or the toes can be almost touching. Starting with maybe a few swan dives. So inhale, sweeping the arms to the sky. And exhale, hinging at the waist, folding forward, using a full exhale to get there. Using a full inhale to reach the hands all the way back up to the ceiling. And full exhale, fold it out. Good, inhale, sweep them to the sky. Exhale, fold. This time as we inhale, we're going to straighten through the spine, so half lift, maybe pressing into the shins. Exhale, fold it out. Inhale, sweep it up. And exhale, fold it out. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. And this time as we inhale, step back to a plank. As we exhale, we're going to lower down maybe through the knees first, elbows nice and close. Lengthen that lower spine. And inhale, taking the cobra. Exhale all the way down, finding downward facing dog. Pausing here for a moment. And then slowly walking toward the front of the mat. So just warming up here. So your forward fold. On your next inhale, lengthen through the spine, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep it up. Exhale, fold it out. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. This
And as you inhale, step the left leg to the back of the mat. So you're finding your runner's lunge here, or high lunge. Right knee is over the left ankle. And you're going to plant your left hand right inside the right foot, or the right foot, so underneath the left shoulder. And then sweep the right arm to the sky. So revolved lunge here. So letting that hand find the ground. Your next inhale sends you to plank. Your next exhale moves you to the ground. And your next inhale takes you to cobra. Exhale down, downward facing dog. And once we're all there, inhale, sweeping the left leg to the sky. And exhale, moving it through, planting on the inside of the left hand. So we're in our runner's lunge again on the other side. Right hand finds the ground. Inhale, left hand finds the sky. Good. Next, exhale, let that hand find the ground and you find your forward fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep it up. And we'll keep moving one more time. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, step the right leg to the back of the mat. So you're in your low lunge again. And then we're going to find our crescent lunge. So micro bend that back knee. Make sure you have enough space between the two heels that you have balance when you come up. Square the hips. And then we're going to gently tuck the tailbone, really engage that right glute before we start to straighten through that back leg. Then hands find the heart. We kind of pause right here. Or if you take like a little bit of a back bend, pull the elbows up and back, open through the chest. And one more slow breath here. And on your next exhale, let the hands find the ground. Inhale, finds the plank. Exhale, lowers down. Inhale, finds cobra. Exhale, all the way down, downward facing dog. Whenever you're ready, inhale, send that right leg toward the sky. Then exhale, move it through, planting the right foot on the inside of the right hand. Micro bend that left leg. Find your crescent lunge. So again, square the hips, tuck the tailbone, engage the left glute, straighten that back leg. Hands come to heart. And hands either stay there or we inhale, pull the elbows up and back, open the chest. One more breath. Good. Your next exhale, let the hands find the ground and you find a forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep it all the way up to the sky. Exhale, bring the hands to the heart. And then let them fall to the sides. Inviting you to close your eyes here again. We're checking with our breath. Continuing to be curious about the connections between our breath and our movement, our breath and that sensation, our movements and sensation. One more moment to slow it down.
And if you're ready, go ahead and open the eyes. We're going to move first into Padahastasana. So start here, try to open up the back of the legs, and that might mean our hands touch our shins or our thighs rather than the ground. But just, yeah, thinking about opening up the back of the legs here. So our inhale, we're going to sweep the hands to the sky. And as we exhale, we hinge at the waist. And either planting the hands on the thighs, the shins, the floor. Seeing if we can place the weight a little bit more into the balls of the feet than in the heels, so our hips stay nice and high. Seeing if on the exhales we can pull just a tiny bit deeper, maybe it's 1/8 of an inch. Also just resting in the stillness of the pose and seeing if that brings you a sense of grounding or any other sense, really. When you're ready, look forward a little bit, lengthen through the spine. And we're going to step the left leg back, probably about 1 leg's distance. So toes are pointed forward, hips are square. This is our pyramid pose here. And if the ground is a little bit too intense for you, you can also come up out of the pose, maybe find the elbows, and just lead with the chest until you find the place that feels good for you. Feels a little bit of opening in the back of the legs. What sensations do we feel in this pose? Where do we feel those sensations? And what does this pose do for our one sensation, if anything? When you're ready, lengthen through the spine, and you're going to turn towards your left foot. I'm going to turn towards you guys, though, so that you're facing the long edge of your mat. Across the rita here, so feet are parallel. And I'm going to invite you, you can either plant the hands right below, I'm going to invite you to walk the hands out in front of you a little bit so you can sink the heart through a little more. And maybe also play around, if you find stability with your hands, you can kind of rock back and forth between the heel and the balls of the foot, bringing the hips a little higher or a little bit back. Just feeling the different ways the weight disperses in the feet. And then when you find space where the hips are high, balls of the feet are planted, maybe finding a little stillness there. Again, our intention is on our breath, and particularly on that one sensation. Good. When you're ready, lengthen through your crown, and then find your way back to the front of your mat. So you're going to be in a high lunge, and then checking in with our knee over our ankle first, sliding that left foot back, and finding a low lunge. So still trying to find length through the spine and through the crown, and opening through the chest. Slowing the breath. Maybe 1 or 2 more here. Good. And whenever you're ready, we're going to plant the hands, tuck the back toe, send your foot back to your plank, and find your way down to your cobra. And then everybody meeting in downward facing dog. Really pressing into the palms,
sending the chest toward the thighs. And then whenever you're ready, you can either hop, step, walk, however you'd like to just come back to a forward fold at the front of the mat. On your next inhale, find that half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep it all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. Checking in for a breath. And then setting up for the other side. Your next inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, fold. So Pradihastasana here, straightening in the back of the legs, weight in the balls of the feet. One or two more breaths here, but we won't stay here quite as long. And when you're ready, lengthen through the crown a little bit, step that right leg back. Finding your pyramid pose again, so squaring the hips, all 10 toes are pointed to the front of the mat. And again, if this pose is really challenging, touching the floor, you can come on up, find the elbows, lead with the chest to a point that feels good for you. And if you have a tendency to lock that front, lifting the toes off the ground a little bit helps, not the balls, but just the toes. And what sensations do we feel in this pose? How does it affect our quality of breath? And how does all of that affect that one sensation? That sensation we've been tracking since the start of our practice. Rita. And then option here, you can either just find a nice still forward fold, or if you like a little twist, you can plant the left hand out in front of you, right hand threads over toward just above the left ankle. You can look underneath the underarm. Coming back to center if you took that twist, and threading to the other side. Coming back to center. And then this time I'm going to encourage you to heel toe in just a couple of inches, bringing the feet in a little bit. Turn the toes pointing outward. And you're going to start to bend the knees and drop your sit bones behind you, so we're in our horse rider pose. We'll just be here for a couple of breaths today, nothing too intense. Two more long, slow breaths. One more. And when you're ready, straighten those legs, fold. Lifting through the crown, check my knee into your low lunge. Really opening up through that hip flexor, through the front body here. And then whenever you're ready, we're going to step that left foot back. Find the ground to find your cobra. Exhale, bringing the body all the way down and pressing the hips up to your downward facing dog. Whenever you're ready, we're going to inhale, sweeping the right leg all the way up to the sky. And then bend the leg and let the foot kind of drop behind you so you can see it underneath your underarms. It's opening up again in the hip flexors. You should feel that more in that front part of your body than in your back, hopefully. Then inhale, brings the leg back to the sky, squaring the hips. And as we exhale, we're moving into our lizard pose. So sweeping the knee forward, left hand plants just outside the left hand, or left foot outside the left hand. Pointing the toes outward a little bit. And then maybe dropping down onto that left knee. Lifting through the chest and through the crown. Option, you can come onto the back of the back foot or the top of the back foot if that feels good. And then either staying up on the hands or maybe starting to work your way down, working toward the forearms maybe. If you have a prop nearby to help you kind of find a halfway point, go ahead and use that. Finding a space where you can get that sensation and that deep stretch, but again, without really compromising the quality of your breath. And if you do, and if it begins to get really shaky or constrained, I would invite you to just back out of that pose by 10 or 20%. See if there's any tension in the face in this pose, and if we can let that go. If there's any tension in the shoulders in this pose, and if we can let that go. And continuing to be curious about that one sensation, about all sensations really, but particularly paying attention to that one sensation we identified at the beginning of our practice for now. All right, when you're ready, slowly backing up out of that, so maybe coming up onto the palms of the hands, maybe tucking the back toes, and then pressing up and sweeping that right leg back up behind you, nice and slow. Letting it find the ground, so downward facing dog. And whenever you're ready, inhale, sweeping the left leg to the sky. Let the leg bend and let the foot drop behind you, opening up again in the hip flexor. So try not to let it really be in the back so much. If you can see your toes, maybe watch them wiggle a little bit. And then your next inhale straightens the leg and squares the hips. Exhale brings it forward for lizard pose on the other side. So planting on the outside of the left hand, turning the toes at an angle a little bit so your knee is always tracking over those toes. And then doing whatever feels best with that back leg. And whatever feels best with the arms. So hands, forearms, blocks, pillows. Being honest with ourselves about how this impacts the quality of our breath, and if we can adjust in some way to return to a slow, even, steady breath. Just another moment here.
And when you're ready again, coming up onto the palms, tucking that back toe. As we inhale, pressing up and sweeping that left leg to the sky. And exhale, let it find the ground. And then let the knees find the ground, maybe knees together, or if they're apart feels better, go for it. But we're going to take a child's pose. Maybe child's pose is a good opportunity to slow our breath again, or maybe we want to start just returning to our own natural breath rhythm. And pressing ourselves back up to seated. We'll take one more pose here, and then we'll have a little bit of a twist and Shavasana. So kind of like Janu Shirshasana, but like a wide leg. So we might want to turn sideways on your mat if that's helpful. So bringing our right legs out straight, left knee is bent. And I'm going to encourage just first to fold forward in this pose. So taking a nice forward fold like we do with our wide leg. Just for maybe 3 breaths. And then pressing back up. And then we're going to keep these toes nice and flexed, and we're going to plant the back of the forearm and the palm beside the legs, just on the inside of the leg. And then the left palm is going to reach behind us and up, palm facing up, so it sweeps forward, keeping the heart open toward the sky. Maybe some of us can find the toes. If that feels good, you can go ahead. Maybe the right hand finds the other thigh, but just do whatever feels really good for you at this moment. Keeping that left hip, or whichever hip has the bent knee, kind of pinned toward the ground. One more breath here. And then either coming straight up or moving first through the center. I like to come to the center first and then press myself back up. And then switching to the other side. So for me, it's my left leg is out straight, but whatever leg you didn't do last time. Right foot is kind of on the thigh of the left knee or the left leg. And then again, just kind of leaning into a forward fold, similar to our wide leg. And then pressing back up. And then again, planting the back of the hand and the back of the left forearm on the inside of the left leg. Turning the chest toward the sky first, and keeping that right hip pinned. And then turn the right hand facing palm up toward the ceiling, and then sweeping it over. Maybe one side feels a little different than the other. Noticing what sensations arise with this particular pose, how it affects our breath, and how all that affects that one particular sensation. One more breath here. And then when you're ready, maybe sweeping to the center first or coming straight up.
think a little bridge pose might feel nice here, but if you want to take a happy baby or something else instead, please do. I'm going to do bridge pose. So planting the soles of my feet on the ground. Shoulders are going to roll underneath. And I like to go ahead and just clasp my hands right from the start because that feels good to me. Roll the shoulders up a little bit more. And as I inhale, press into the heels. Send first the hips up, lower spine, middle spine, upper spine. And really pressing into the feet in a way that sends my chest toward my chin, but my chin stays still. I don't want to move our necks too much in this pose. Notice if the knees start to splay out, if we can kind of bring the thighs together. Good, and then when you're ready, undoing that. So first comes the shoulders down, middle back, lower back, tailbone touches, then maybe hugging the knees in. And then I'm just gonna encourage a twist of some sort. So I'm just gonna take a really simple twist today. So my arms are out either like a T or a cactus. Knees come up and shins are parallel to the ground. I'm gonna bump my hips over to the right just a little bit, and then let the knees gently fall over toward the left. Maybe the gaze turns over your right shoulder if that feels okay. We're taking a moment to reflect on our practice. So a few common cues I like to give are just what feels different now than what we felt at the beginning of our practice. And today that could really be to focus on that one sensation, but it can be any other thing that changed for you. And next inhale brings the legs back to the center. Maybe adjusting our hips a little bit first before we go to the other side. And then finding that twist on the other side. Also, what feels the same as what we started with? What did you enjoy and what was challenging? Are those two things one and the same? And next inhale brings us back to center. And then starting to work your way into your Shavasana pose. So laying flat on our backs. Shoulders are nice and relaxed, maybe even slightly rolled under if that feels good for you. And feet are nice and loose. Palms are traditionally facing upwards, but however you'd like them, it can be on your hands, they can be on your belly, on your heart, facing down, whatever you prefer. Before we go full Shavasana, I'm just going to encourage you one more time. Just bring your attention to that one sensation that we found at the beginning of our practice. Is that still the most prominent sensation? Can we still name that sensation, and is it the same name? If it's the same name, is it more dull, more prominent? Is it just the same? And even if it feels the same now, did you notice any shifts throughout your practice? Just a few more breaths there with that sensation.
And then really let everything go, full Shavasana here. So maybe taking a big breath in, sighing it out, letting the hips melt, letting the shoulders melt, letting the jaw relax, the teeth unclench, the eyebrows unfurrow. And then just spending the last couple moments of Shavasana here in silence. Whenever you're ready, just taking a few full, deep belly breaths in and out. One more time. And you're really slowly starting to wiggle your fingers and toes. Rolling the wrists and ankles in one direction and the other. Very mindfully turning your head to one side and to the other side. However you'd like to transition and stay fully relaxed, I invite you to do so. I like to stretch my hands overhead, reach through my toes. Exhaling to bring it all in for a hug. And either by pressing or rocking or rolling over to one side first, just really slowly taking your time to come back to a seated position. I'm inviting you to keep your eyes closed if that feels okay for you. And then maybe if today or right after your practice or right now, if you're thinking back to that sensation and all the tracking we did this morning, let's try maybe not to attach a story or emotion to it. Just to observe it as a sensation alone, and maybe it's something you can observe throughout your day or throughout your week, or maybe you just leave it here on your mat. I often like to close with the same prayer. Bringing my hands in front of my heart, inviting you to join me. May this practice be not only beneficial to ourselves, but to all beings. May all be happy and well and free of suffering. Thank you all for sharing your practice this morning. Namaste.